Hello and welcome to Tomi Talks TV. I have one singular goal with this show, and that is to help you make smarter decisions so that you can have better relationships. I'd like to start as usual by saying a very big thank you. Thank you for all your likes and your shares and your comments on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. I really appreciate you because you're helping us spread the message further, faster. So thank you very much indeed. Now, I'm not in my normal studio today, as you can see, obviously, if you've been following me. I'm in Bilbao, Spain at the moment on holiday with my family, but I just thought I would take a moment to answer one of your questions, and it goes like this. How should a wife respond when her husband tells her to do something that is sinful, which she knows is wrong? For instance, lying to conceal a truth. Is she still supposed to submit to her husband in everything as the Bible instructs? Now, that's an excellent question, and I can imagine if you're asking that question, I can imagine what a dilemma it must be for you to try to balance the whole thing of you want to obey Christ, but at the same time, you feel your husband is asking you to do things that you feel you should not do. The truth of the matter is this: submission does not mean putting the will of your husband ahead of the will of Christ. So when it comes to the issue of submission, the will of Christ comes first in your life. So you should not submit to someone to the detriment of your submission to Christ. In fact, the way that submission is supposed to work is that your husband submits to Christ and you submit to your husband, so you're both walking in line with God's will. But obviously sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where maybe you're married to someone who doesn't know Christ, or and all that. Submission is still supposed to function in that sort of situation until it gets to a point where submission to your husband is putting you at odds with submitting to Christ. So that simply means if your husband says to you, lie, or get involved in a scam, or let us have group sex, or anything that is clearly against the scripture, then at that point obviously you need to submit to Christ as opposed to submitting to your husband. But I think the key in this sort of situation is how you go about doing it. So it's the attitude that matters. So rather than going about it in an arrogant attitude, basically saying, well, giving the impression that he's not as holy as you, I think rather the way to go about it, is with kindness and understanding, and recognizing that, well, I'd like to follow your leadership, but in this situation, you've left me no choice. I really cannot, because I need to follow the leadership of Christ first. And I believe that if you do that in a humble attitude and with a kind-hearted attitude and a respectful attitude, I believe that God will honor you for that. Well, I hope this has helped you. If this has helped you, then please leave me a message on Facebook, or on Twitter, on Instagram, or YouTube. And if you've got a question you would like me to answer, then head on over to tomitalks.com/ask, and I'll answer your question next time. See you next time. Bye-bye.